First contact revelations. The Astraxian vessel Eternal Harmony glided through the void, its crystalline hull shimmering with bioluminescent patterns that shifted in perfect mathematical sequences. Commander Zixtal stood on the command deck, his four arms folded in the traditional posture of contemplative analysis. His species had mastered space travel centuries ago, perfecting the art of stellar navigation through the harmonious integration of biology and technology. Commander, called Sensor Officer Neri, her voice melodious even in urgency. Unknown vessel detected at the edge of the Reinar Nebula. Configuration matches no known species in our database. Zixtal's central eye ridge lifted with interest. Magnify and analyze. The main view screen shifted, revealing an angular metal construct that seemed crude and primitive compared to the organic elegance of Astraxian design. Sharp edges, protruding structures, and what appeared to be external weapon systems dotted its hull. Fascinating, whispered Science Officer Vex. It appears to be using primitive fusion propulsion, metal alloy construction. And he paused, recalibrating his instruments, and what appears to be dedicated weapon systems. How quaint. A ripple of amusement passed through the command crew. The Astraxians had evolved beyond such primitive concepts as dedicated weapons. Their defensive capabilities were woven into the very fabric of their ships, elegant and invisible, not these crude appendages. "Shall we make contact, Commander?" asked Communications Officer Illyra, her tendrils already poised over the quantum transmitter. "Yes, let us welcome these newcomers to civilized space." The initial exchange was cordial, if awkward. The humans, as they called themselves, seemed eager for contact. The Astraxian crew couldn't help but notice how the human captain stood rigidly in what seemed to be a ceremonial uniform, so inefficient compared to the flexible biosuits that allowed Astraxians to move freely in multiple gravitational environments. "We are honored to make your acquaintance," the human captain said. "I am Captain Maya Chen of the United Earth Alliance vessel Defiant. We come in peace and seek cultural exchange." "Welcome, Captain Chen," Zixtal replied. "I am Commander Zixtal of the Astraxian Conclave. We would be most interested in an exchange of information and technology. Perhaps you would permit us to scan your vessel for our anthropological records." The human hesitated briefly before agreeing. "Of course, we would appreciate the same courtesy." As the Astraxian sensors began their comprehensive analysis, Science Officer Vex's amusement gradually transformed into puzzlement, then concern. "Commander, you should see this," he said privately, sending the data to Zixtal's neural interface. The commander's skin changed hue as he processed the information. "Verify these readings." "I've run diagnostics 3 times, Vex confirmed. "The results are accurate." The human ship, while visually primitive, contained design elements that defied Astraxian understanding. Redundant systems were built throughout the vessel, not just vital systems, but seemingly everything. Power generation, life support, navigation, even the ship's computer cores existed in triplicate. More baffling were the manual overrides for virtually every automated system. Why would an advanced spacefaring race design ships requiring physical operation? Elira wondered. "Perhaps their AI development is restricted," suggested Neri. Vex shook his head. "Their quantum computing appears reasonably sophisticated. This is a deliberate design choice." As the scans continued, further anomalies emerged. The Defiant's hull, while seemingly crude, incorporated layered materials that could absorb and disperse energy in ways the Astraxians hadn't considered. The propulsion system, though based on nuclear fusion, incorporated emergency chemical thrusters that could function without main power. Most disturbing were the numerous compartmentalized sections throughout the ship, each capable of being sealed and maintaining independent life support. They designed their vessels expecting catastrophic damage, Zixtal realized. These aren't exploration ships. They're survival capsules. Further analysis revealed medical facilities distributed throughout the vessel, combat training areas, and what appeared to be weapon fabrication capabilities. "Commander, Vex said quietly. Their power core is unusual. They're using controlled fusion as we expected, but the containment system is designed to channel excess energy in a directed manner if breached. You mean? Zixtal began. Yes. If their ship is critically damaged, it becomes a weapon. The command deck fell silent. The Astraxians had eliminated warfare from their society millennia ago. Their technological development focused entirely on harmony and exploration. These humans had developed spaceflight as an extension of conflict, or at least with the expectation of it. There's more, Vex continued. Their biological data is concerning. The display shifted to show human anatomical details, endothermic metabolism allowing function in extreme temperatures, redundant organ systems, a skeletal structure that prioritized mobility and shock absorption over efficiency, a digestive system capable of processing a startling variety of organic materials. They're apex predators, Neri whispered. Technically omnivores, Vex corrected. But yes, evolved from pursuit predators. What's most interesting is their neural structure. They appear to have evolved for pattern recognition, risk assessment, and adaptation rather than efficiency or specialization. Zixtal studied the information with growing concern. So they build their ships the way they evolved, to survive unexpected threats and adapt to changing conditions. Precisely, Vex agreed. And based on these designs, they expect threats everywhere. The communication channel activated again, showing Captain Chen's face. Commander Zixtal, our preliminary scans are complete. We're detecting some unusual energy signatures from your vessel that our scientists are quite excited about. Would you be open to a technology exchange? Zixtal hesitated, his skin rippling with cautious colors. These humans, with their redundant systems and survival-focused design, represented a completely different approach to space exploration. An approach that prepared for the worst at every turn. What did they know that the Astraxians didn't? We would be amenable to an exchange of non-military technology, he replied carefully. Captain Chen smiled. Excellent. Perhaps we could arrange for a delegation to visit each other's ships. That could be arranged, Zixtal said. However, I'm curious, Captain. Your ship seems designed for combat situations. Is space travel so dangerous in your experience? A shadow passed over the human's face. Commander, in our short history of space exploration, we've learned that the universe doesn't always welcome visitors. We build our ships not because we seek conflict, but because we've learned that survival often depends on preparation. Interesting philosophy, Zixtal commented. The Astraxian approach has been to seek harmony with the cosmos, not to armor ourselves against it. A beautiful perspective, Chen replied diplomatically. Perhaps there's wisdom in both approaches. After the communication ended, Zixtal turned to his officers. Prepare for an exchange delegation, but upgrade our defensive protocols to maximum awareness. There's much we don't understand about these humans. Do you think they represent a threat? Asked Neri. Zixtal considered the question carefully. I think they represent a species that expects threats, and that alone makes them dangerous, but also potentially valuable allies. If they've survived using these principles, perhaps there are dangers in the universe the Astraxian conclave has been fortunate enough to avoid. For now, as the eternal harmony moved alongside the human vessel, the contrast between them couldn't have been more stark. One a crystalline marvel of biological engineering, flowing with light and harmony. The other a metal behemoth of angles and armaments, designed not just to explore the cosmos, but to survive it. Two approaches to the same stars, about to learn from each other in ways neither could yet imagine. The demonstration. The human delegation aboard the Eternal Harmony moved with undisguised wonder through the crystalline corridors. Their heavy boots, another redundancy the Astraxians found puzzling, clicked against the responsive biogul flooring, which automatically adjusted its firmness to accommodate their unusual gait. Your ship is incredible, Lieutenant Commander Ravi Singh remarked, reaching out to touch a wall that pulsed with soft bioluminescence. It's like it's alive. It is, in many ways, explained Vex, who had been assigned as the delegation's guide. The primary structure is grown, rather than constructed, using crystalline matrices infused with engineered biological components. Sane nodded, his expression revealing both admiration and skepticism. Beautiful, but vulnerable to radiation bursts, I'd imagine. Vex's skin rippled with mild offense. Our bioengineered materials actually absorb and convert radiation into usable energy. The ship becomes stronger in radiation-rich environments. Meanwhile, aboard the Defiant, Commander Zixtal was having a similar exchange with Captain Chen as they toured the human vessel. Your life support systems seem unnecessarily complex, Zixtal observed, studying the triple redundant air purification system. We call it belt, suspenders, and a piece of string, Chen replied with a smile. If the main system fails, we have backups. If the backups fail, we have emergency protocols. If those fail, she patted a small device on her belt. Personal survival gear. You expect many failures, Zixtal stated. Chen's expression grew serious. Commander, in human history, every major space disaster has taught us one lesson. Systems fail in ways you don't anticipate, so we anticipate everything. The tour continued to the ship's core, where Chief Engineer Commander Jackson proudly displayed the fusion reactor. It's inefficient by your standards, I'm sure, Jackson admitted, but it can run on multiple fuel types in a pinch, and even if it goes completely offline, we can maintain essential functions through chemical batteries and emergency generators for up to 3 months. Zixtal's skin shifted to a color indicating deep contemplation. Your approach prioritizes survival above all else. Precisely, Chen agreed. Which brings me to a proposal. We've studied your sensor capabilities. They're far superior to ours. We'd like to suggest a joint training exercise. Your sensors, our tactical expertise. Before Zixtal could respond, alarms blared throughout both ships. Multiple objects on approach vector, reported the Defiant's tactical officer over the comm. High velocity, minimal energy signature, impact in 40 seconds. Meteoroid cluster, asked Shen sharply. Negative, Captain. Regular spacing and identical mass. These are artificial. Chen's posture changed instantly, her body tensing like a coiled spring. Hostile action. Battle stations. Commander Zixtal, I suggest you return to your vessel immediately. Zixtal, however, remained calm. Our defensive fields can easily deflect such objects. There is no cause for. With respect, Commander, Chen interrupted, those aren't normal projectiles. The minimal energy signature suggests stealth technology. Return to your ship and raise whatever defenses you have. For a moment, Zixtal hesitated, unused to taking orders from anyone outside the conclave hierarchy. But something in the human captain's tone, an absolute certainty born of experience, compelled him to comply. As the Astraxian delegation hurriedly returned to the Eternal Harmony, the human ship underwent a startling transformation. Armored plates slid over vulnerable sections, weapon systems emerged from previously hidden compartments, and the entire crew moved with practiced precision to battle stations. Aboard the Eternal Harmony, Zixtal ordered their defensive fields to maximum. What information do we have on these objects? Minimal, replied Neri. They appear designed to avoid detection. Our systems barely register them. On the shared communication channel, Chen's voice came through. Commander, we're detecting a unique energy signature in those projectiles consistent with quantum disruption technology. Your crystalline hull could be vulnerable. Impossible, Vex responded. No known species possesses such technology. Well, someone does now, Chen replied grimly. We're moving to intercept. The Defiant surged forward, positioning itself between the approaching projectiles and the Astraxian vessel. Its point defense systems activated, firing precise bursts at the incoming threats. Several were destroyed, but the fragments continued on their trajectory. Kinetic impacts imminent, reported the human tactical officer. Brace 4. The first impacts against the Defiant's armored hull sent reverberations through both ships. The human vessel's design proved its worth as compartmentalized sections absorbed and distributed the force. But the remaining projectiles passed through the defensive screen, one of them striking the Eternal Harmony's hull. The effect was immediate and catastrophic. Where the projectile struck, the crystalline structure began to degrade, molecular bonds breaking down in a spreading pattern. "Hull integrity failing," reported Neri, her voice revealing panic for the first time. "The quantum disruption is spreading through our biomatrix." "Isolate affected sections," ordered Zixtal. But Vex shook his head. "We can't. Our ship's systems are too integrated. The degradation will spread throughout the entire vessel within minutes." Over the comm, Chen's voice cut through. "Commander, we have an idea. Your ship's structure responds to radiation, correct? We can generate a controlled radiation pulse that might halt the quantum breakdown." "Such a pulse would kill my crew," Zixtal responded. "Not if you use our emergency shelters," Chen countered. "We can transfer your crew to our radiation bunkers temporarily. It's your ship or your people, Commander. Choose quickly." It went against every Astraxian protocol, but Zixtal made the decision. "Begin evacuation procedures." What followed was a demonstration of human emergency protocols that left the Astraxians in awe. The Defiant's crew, while continuing to fight off a second wave of projectiles, efficiently coordinated the transfer of the Astraxian crew. Emergency pressure suits were distributed, escape corridors established, and within minutes, the crystalline ship's crew found themselves in the human vessel's radiation shelters. From the Defiant's bridge, Chen ordered the radiation burst. A focused beam from the human ship's deflector array bathed the stricken Astraxian vessel in precisely modulated radiation. As predicted, the crystalline structure began to absorb and convert the energy, using it to rebuild the damaged molecular bonds. "It's working," reported Vex, monitoring from the shelter. "The degradation is halting." But the crisis wasn't over. The attacking vessels, revealed now on sensors as stealth attack drones, regrouped for another assault. "They're targeting both ships now," Chen announced. "Commander Zixtal, I need access to your sensor array to pinpoint their control ship." In a decision that would later be documented as a pivotal moment in Astraxian history, Zixtal granted a human captain access to their advanced technology. Transferring sensor control now. With the Astraxian sensor's superior range and resolution now integrated with human tactical systems, the Defiant quickly located the control vessel hiding at the edge of the Raynar Nebula. A precision strike from the human ship's main weapons disabled it, causing the attack drones to go dormant. Hours later, with the immediate danger past and repairs underway, the commanders of both vessels met in the Defiant's conference room. "The attackers appear to be automated drones from the Krell Imperium," Chen explained, displaying the analysis results. "They must have detected our first contact and decided to test our combined defenses." "A test we passed, thanks to human preparedness," Zixtal acknowledged, his skin shifting to colors of respect and gratitude. "You saved my ship and crew, Captain." "And your sensors saved us from a prolonged engagement," Chen replied. "Different approaches, complementary strengths." Zixtal's inner eyelids blinked thoughtfully. "Perhaps there is wisdom in your philosophy of preparation after all. The universe has more threats than the Astraxian Conclave has encountered in our protected regions of space. And perhaps there's wisdom in your approach of harmony and cooperation," Chen countered. "Human history is filled with conflicts that might have been avoided had we prioritized understanding over defense." The meeting concluded with an unprecedented proposal, a formal alliance between the United Earth Alliance and the Astraxian Conclave. Human defensive technology would be integrated with Astraxian sensory capabilities, creating a new type of vessel that combined the best aspects of both design philosophies. As the repairs neared completion and the Astraxian crew prepared to return to their vessel, Captain Chen found Commander Zixtal observing the stars from the Defiant's observation deck. "You know, Commander," she said quietly, When we first scanned your ship, my crew was as baffled by your design as yours was by ours. We couldn't understand how you'd survived in space with such seemingly vulnerable systems. And we couldn't comprehend why you built ships expecting constant disaster, Zixtal replied. Now I understand. Your species hasn't been fortunate enough to evolve in safety as mine has. Chen smiled. Or perhaps your species hasn't been challenged enough to develop our adaptability. A fair assessment, Zixtal conceded. The universe has room for both approaches, and is safer with both of us in it. As the two commanders stood side by side, watching the stars, the eternal harmony and the defiant remained docked together. Crystal and metal, harmony and survival, two different answers to the same cosmic challenge, each incomplete without the other. In the void beyond, the stars continued their ancient dance, indifferent to the struggles of those who sailed between them. But for the first time, two very different civilizations had found strength in their differences rather than conflict, a lesson that would spread throughout the galaxy as humans and Astraxians ventured forth together, no longer laughing at each other's ships, but marveling at what was inside them both, the courage to face the unknown in their own unique ways.